So this is my plan to make $50,000 per month with just 1,000 subscribers. Now, I'm making this video for two reasons. Reason number one is I think you might find it very interesting to see what my strategy is and how I plan on doing this with such a small subscriber group, so you can copy me and do exactly the same, especially if you're looking to build a business from a personal brand and actually start scaling your content and all that kind of good stuff. So the second reason is I think it'd be really interesting to look back on this video if eventually I do actually hit $50,000 per month and to see whether or not this strategy actually worked and if I did anything different. And I think in general, it's really cool to document your journey so you can look back on stuff. Anyway, so that's kind of why I'm doing it. So now this video is not going to be exciting. It's not going to be short. It's going to be probably fucking long. This is the third time of me trying to film the bleeding thing because I keep waffling for too long. But I'm going to try and get to the point as quickly as I can to try and give you as much value as I possibly can, but also get everything that's up here onto a piece of paper and onto a video. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, let's just dive in. If you don't know me, if you're brand new here, my name is Matt, right? That's me. I have actually built a YouTube channel before. I know a lot about content and building a personal brand, and I've also have about 10 years experience in business. So I've been doing this for a very long time, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Now, as you can see, I've got over 100,000 subscribers on another YouTube channel, and that's just me in Venice, just because why not? I thought you need more content to show you who I am. So this is my plan to make $50,000 per month. I'm a big believer in the fact that you only need one lead source, one funnel, and one product to get to this scale. I don't think that you need multiple different levels of complexity to hit $50,000 per month. A lot of people that I look up to do 800 to $1 million a month with one product from one lead source. So if they can do it, I figure I can probably do the same thing as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is because number one, I want to have the best product out there in the entire marketplace. And the other reason is I think if I had multiple funnels and multiple products, seeing as it's pretty much just me, I would just be doing everything pretty poorly. So I might as well just do one thing and do it fucking well. That's my thought process. I might be wrong, but public service announcement, this video is purely about marketing. I will not be talking about how I plan to improve my product. There's going to be some things that you'll see in here which you'll be like, red flag, fix that now, it's a problem. Trust me, I know, I'm aware. I can't put everything that I'm working on in this video because it will go on for about 6 hours. I've already tried that, I removed it. If you want it, if there's enough interest, I will film a separate video. But anything to do with lifetime value, product, conversion rates, I don't know, different things like that, we can talk about in another video. So now that's out of the way, really quick thing. If you want to know how I've been able to make about $20,000 a month with just about 1,000 subscribers, I filmed a 15-minute free training that will show you exactly how to master what I call the art of social influence, so you too can also make $15,000 per month from your phone. If you want to watch that, click the first link down below in the description. It's totally free. You can take a watch. So before I tell you exactly how I plan to scale to 15,000, okay, so before I tell you how I plan to make $50,000 a month, I think it's good to provide some context about not only a little bit more of a backstory around myself, but also to provide context around what my product is and what I'm actually selling, and you can understand what the business model is. So if you're trying to do what I'm trying to do, you can just copy me and do the same thing. So I was like you probably are right now. I have tried pretty much every single business model out there. I've tried SMMA, dropshipping, Amazon FBA, trading, crypto, literally everything I've tried. I've been doing this for about 10 years. And trust me when I tell you, half of them are a fucking nightmare to get working. And the reason why is because I didn't really have any tangible, solid skills in one thing that I'm using to make money. I was just dipping my hands in too many pies at the same time. And the main reason why I stopped just chasing these funky business models and started to actually learn a skill, which I now call social influence, is because I looked at what every single online financial guru is actually doing to make their money. And not to name names, but certain YouTubers with over 5 million subscribers that teach you how to start a social media marketing agency, but also sell digital products that teach you how to, you know, learn dropshipping, copywriting, become a sales rep, and also SMMA for like $37 a month. The one thing that they don't teach you how to do is start a YouTube channel and sell digital products like they're doing. Okay, so a lot of these gurus, and that's not just that one person, there's loads of people that are doing this that are actually making their money from their personal brand, right? Getting that social influence, posting content online and selling digital products is where they're making all of their money. So rather than doing what they're teaching me to do, I figured why not do what they're actually doing? And ever since I did that, I've been able to do pretty well for myself with a very small subscriber base. Now, as you can see, 1,360 subscribers in May so far, about 30,000 views, nearly 500 subscribers gained, and about $20,000 in revenue just by learning the art of social influence, which all of these online gurus have mastered. Now, what do I actually sell? What is my system? What is my product? So my current core lead source right now is YouTube. It didn't always used to be that way. It used to be TikTok until I got banned. But right now, pretty much all of my revenue comes from YouTube, and it's actually working better than all of the short form platforms that I was on. So I'm actually kind of happy that my TikTok got banned because this was my end goal anyway. So I've got one core lead source, which is YouTube. The way that my conversion mechanism right now is a webinar, which I run every week, and it's doing very well for me right now, but I'm going to explain my issues with it, my problems, what I've got to fix, and kind of my solutions to them as well. And my product is a group coaching program. I will help you build a personal brand and basically do what I do, right? Because I figured that most of these gurus are building a personal brand and selling digital products, but no one's going to teach you how to do it. So if no one's going to teach you, I'll learn it the hard way. I'll put in the graft. I'll learn how to do it, and then I'll teach you how to do the same thing as well. So that's what I tell people to do, is build a personal brand and start making money from it. And that's what my program is. It's a subscription to a group coaching program. So this is what I do. So I post content online, just like this video that you're seeing right now. All of my traffic, I try and direct to my webinar. Now, for the last month, I've been testing a few different things, and I've not been doing that for all of my videos, but more on that in just a second. So typically, below this video, you would see a link that would take you to my registration page for my webinar. In this one, depending on when you're watching this video, it may not be that link because I'm also testing different funnels as well, but that would be what I do. Now, when you click that link, it takes you to a registration page, and you opt in. I get your name, your phone number, and your email, so I can use that to remarket you at some point, try and resell you. That's what I'm doing YouTube for. I'm not here for the fun of it. I'm trying to get your money, trying to get my hands in your pockets. But anyways, you can see here, right, my UTM source is YouTube. So pretty much all of my customers come from YouTube. So you can see what I'm doing. And the price of my product is not cheap, but it's also not expensive. It's $197 per month. And the reason why it's priced as that is it used to be $50 per month, but no one did any fucking work. So I put the price up. It's now $200 a month because this is going to hurt you enough to actually want to put in some work and actually implement and do something to actually start making that money back. And that has worked wonders for my engagement and for my results in my group. Now, as of right now, my lifetime value fluctuates between 2 to 3 months. And that's why I say in a future video, I'm going to be building out a new plan to basically improve my product to get my lifetime value up to 6 months, but that's for another video. So this is what I do. I sell a subscription product. My goal is to stack monthly recurring revenue, grow my personal brand, and monetize through a webinar. One funnel, one product, one lead source. However, as with business, there are problems. And I find it really interesting. I don't think many YouTubers or business owners actually document their big problems and go this transparent. So hopefully you're getting some value from this. But here are some of my biggest problems. My first issue is with a webinar, you have maximum of 4 opportunities to sell your product every single month. I host 1 webinar a week. That's about 4 webinars per month. The issue with this is that most customers that want to buy from me at the time when they're in a buying mood can't buy for me. They have to wait a week, then they have to show up to a webinar, wait there for 2 hours until they have the opportunity to buy, which means that the low-hanging fruit, people that would buy now and like right now, can't buy for another week. That's one of the things I don't like. Now, I can increase the quantity of webinars that I do per week, but right now that doesn't really make sense because my lead flow isn't really big enough and webinars feed off engagement in the actual class. So it's a bit of a kind of a catch-22 there. But anyway, I can live with that if the webinars are converting well and we're making money from them. 90%, and then the other thing is about 90% of people that actually watch my content click onto my landing page. Now, that's not actually a problem. I don't really know why I put it there. That's actually a great thing because that means that 90% of people that watch this video won't ever click the link down below. What it does mean is 10% of people will click the link down below. When I was on TikTok, about 0.3% of people would click into my link in bio, and now 10% of people do. So it's a massive increase when I come over here to YouTube. So that's actually really good. But what is bad is I used to have 81% of people never registering for my webinar, which means that only 19% of people that landed on my landing page would only opt into my webinar, and about 10% of them would actually show up, which meant that a massive, massive proportion of my leads would just never even know that I had something to sell them, and they would never even bother turning up to the free class. I have fixed a lot of these problems and I'm going to show you that now, but I'm also going to try and improve them again to try and make more money, and I'll show you that in a second. That's why I say this video is going to be long, so hopefully you're still paying attention. Anyway, the other problem that I have with webinars is key man risk. Now, the reason why I'm building this business model is because I want to build it to a point where it has exit value. It builds enterprise value. That's why it's a subscription model. And I know they're not easy. I know people have probably different opinions, but the reason why I'm doing this is because eventually I want to build this to the point that I can actually sell the business. And that means I have to eventually get to a point where I can remove myself not only from the marketing, where the lead source is coming from, but also remove myself from the fulfillment in the back end. And the problem is with a webinar is, as of right now, I am actually having to manually host every session each week. They're all live. Like, I sit down for 2 hours and I teach people for free every single week. Now, there are all solutions to these problems, and there's other like small things. For example, we have a lot of technical problems with webinars at the moment, with links not being sent out properly. Just a lot of like the webinar room actually just breaking and just kicking people out and just stopping functioning. Like, we have lots of small technical problems that keep propping up, and you don't have enough opportunities to fix them because you have to wait a week until you see if your changes have actually taken effect and are actually working on the next webinar. So you can't get data back very, very quickly when you're running webinars, especially live at the volume that I'm running them at. However, with that being said, I don't want to be a bugbear here, but there are some really good things about webinars. The first thing is it's extremely high leverage. It's like doing a sales call for 200 people on one call. It's amazing. You can sell 200 people in one go with one sales call, and you can handle all objections on that one call, which is amazing, right? So it's high leverage on my time. My conversion rates for my webinars are very, very high for the industry standards, and I'll take you through that in just a second. And then finally, it builds a lot of trust and rapport because I actually teach people on there as well. So if you don't buy my stuff from that class, you actually get a lot of actionable stuff that you can go away and you can learn anyway, so you get a lot of value from it. And there's also a free community that you can join if you don't buy the paid product. So with that being said, things that I've been working on and things that I fixed, and then I'll tell you what I'm planning on working on next and then my strategy. So here we go. I'll try and be quick on this. So my registration rate used to be 19%. I've since increased that to 31% and I intend to increase it further. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to focus on having a very highly converting funnel before I actually blast a shit ton of traffic to it. Because if I've got a broken funnel, then there's no point just filling it with leads if they're all just leaking out the back end. Now, a lot of internet marketers right now just want to make money rapidly and just kind of blow up and make millions of dollars every second, and that's fine if they want to do that, but I'm trying to build something for the long term, and I think that just throwing money at a problem or just funneling a lot of leads into a broken funnel is kind of a waste of everybody's time, and they're going to get a shit experience, a shit product, and I'm not going to make that much money from it. So for me, it doesn't make much sense. But anyway, with that being said, I have fixed a few things. My registration rate I've been able to take from 19% to 31%. As you can see here, 68 out of 351 people in a day registered for this class, which is insane for a day, but like that's 19% of people registering. And then this day, this is the following week, we got 326 people clicking that link and 100 people registering, which is a 31% registration rate. And that extrapolates over the entire week as well. So overall, the registration rate has actually increased from 19% up to 31%, which is brilliant. And with that being said as well, I've also done a lot of work on the show rate. We've taken it from a 13% show up rate to a 30% show up rate, which basically means that I have doubled the number of people that are showing up on that webinar, which means I've doubled the number of people that I can sell per week, which means that theoretically I can double the number of people that are going to buy and double my revenue. So increasing my show up rate has been massively important for me. Now, the reason why that show up rate is so low at 12.8%, and I still want it to be higher, is a few things. Number one, I have just been a bit lazy and a bit stupid when it comes to actually operating this webinar. There's been other things I've been so busy on and focusing on that I have pretty much just not updated my entire email reminder sequence since December 2023, which is really, really bad because the discrepancy between what's actually in my emails and what the class is about has actually changed, as well as my content as well. So I have since now, as of today, when filming this video, actually updated my email sequence. Go me, that's finally been done. The second problem that we have is actually a major issue with Webinar Jam that's not actually my fault, which is basically it keeps sending people random links that don't work. I'm not going to go into the weeds of it, but essentially I've been on chat support with them. We've since hopefully, fingers crossed, fixed that problem, but it keeps cropping up now and then, and I don't really know how to fix it. It's outside of my control. The other thing is just another bunch of technical problems, which I won't dive into, but hopefully now we've been able to increase that show up rate. And since we've updated the emails and stuff, we should be able to push that show up rate even further. The next thing is my close rate. So my close rate has actually increased like double as well, right? So not only have I doubled my show up rate, but I've also doubled my close rate, which means I've 4x'd the number of people that are buying every single week just by making a few small minor adjustments. And this is what I mean when I say optimize the funnel first versus optimizing the views, because otherwise to get the same outcome, I would have had to post 4 times the amount of content and get 4 times the amount of views that I'm getting per week right now, which would be ridiculous to do at my scale. Whereas just by making some small tweaks and some small changes, I've been able to make the same result happen without actually increasing the number of posts that I do. So that's why my content hasn't really been pushed out there so much. But with that being said, my close rate on my webinar is very high. Like the industry standard, a lot of people that I know that actually run webinars sit between a 5 to a 7% conversion rate on average. Sometimes they hit 10%, but that's pretty much average, 5 to 7%. My conversion rate when I was running it from short form content, especially on TikTok, was 8% to 10%. And now when I've come over here to YouTube, it's sitting at around a 16 to an 18% conversion rate, which is incredibly high. And that is where I'm going to get into my paid ad strategy, which we'll be implementing probably in the next couple of months that I want to take you through as well. Ooh, all right, so that's kind of the long and short of where I'm at right now, the improvements that I've made. So what is my actual strategy to push this even further and to start scaling my content? And why have I not done it already? And why am I taking so long? Well, short answer, I don't know. I need to start implementing stuff quicker, but I like to really, truly, properly think things out before I implement. And I don't want to make rash decisions because in the past I've made rash decisions and it's never worked that well for me. So there's a few things that I'm working on. in terms of the funnel. Then I'll talk about the marketing front end side of things. So the funnel, I want to increase the registration rate from 31% to 45%. And I think I can do that by making a few small alterations to what I say in my content, as well as what I say on my landing page. For example, one of my clients that I'm actually built a webinar for, just straight off the bat, they're getting a 48% registration rate, right? And they get the same number of views as I do. So it stands to reason that I can do the same thing with my own product. I just spend too much time trying to help other people make money rather than trying to help myself. So it is what it is, but I want to get it from 31% to 45%. As you can see, I have been able to do this before. This is one of my webinars that I ran that got me a 57% sign up rate. So that's kind of my intention, is if I can get my registration rate from 31%, add another like 14 to 15% on the front end to my registrations, I'll be able to make 14 to 15% more people turn up to the class, which means I'll be able to make 14 to 15% increase on people that are going to see my offer, which means I'll be able to make more money. And finally, the big one, the big juicy one, which is, can I get an extra 10% of people to show up to my class every single week? Ideally, I want a 50 to 70% show up rate. I mean, if we can get a 50 to 70% show up rate, I'll be making millions of dollars. But at the moment, that doesn't seem like it's going to be likely. So can I push it from 30 to 40%? We'll see. We've since updated the entire email marketing sequence. We also invite people to a free community where we can nurture the leads. And we also do daily posts and stuff to make sure we can pull them back onto the class every single week as well. So that's somewhat the plan. This is the most important part. I am big on data and I'm big on numbers. And I thought it'd be interesting to break down the maths of how this actually works and what this actually works out to be. So, okay, so let me have a look at this. I'm going to be very conservative here, because there's no point overestimating numbers, because worst case scenario, I make more money. All right. So $50,000 per month with a $197 offer. I need 253 customers. Now, the reason why is because 253 times 197 equals about $50,000. Now, at the moment, I'm getting a between 2 to 3 month lifetime value. So let's assume worst case, a 2-month lifetime value. Now, like I said earlier, I've got plans to increase that to a 4-month lifetime value minimum, potentially a 6-month lifetime value. There's some really cool stuff that I'm doing over there, but that's for another video. So for the sake of this calculation, I'm not going to take that into account because we're not there yet. That's just a plan. It's not been implemented. We're just talking about the marketing. Worst case, if I do double my lifetime value and we do get to 4-month lifetime value, I make more money than I planned by following this strategy. So the way that I look at it, if I assume worst case numbers, I make more money if it goes better. So fuck it, that's what we're going to do. And with this being the case, I need to add 126 customers per month for the churned customers to equal the new customers. Like I say, it's not great. The economics need to be improved. I don't want to be churning 126 people per month, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. We have two funnels here, two strategies, right? We have our current, and then we have my target. Okay, and I've also been a little bit more conservative with my close rates as well, because we're getting around 18% close rate. I've dropped that back to 15% close rate because I want to be conservative. So my current system is 10% click-through rate for my content, 30% registration rate, 30% show rate, 15% close rate. My target is a 10% click-through rate. That's not going to change. 45% registration rate, 40% show rate, and 15% close rate. That's where I want to get to. So with organic strategy number one, all I've done, right? The whole reason why I've done this is because I want to reverse engineer what my daily input needs to be to hit this number, right? Because if I'm sitting here saying, well, I need to get 6 million people onto my website every single week, I've got to go viral. I can't control if I go viral, and I can't control if I get 6 million people onto my website. The only thing that I can control is how much content I put out and what I do with my funnel, right? I can only control those two things, so that's what I'm working on. So I reverse engineer the numbers to see actually, on average, how many pieces of content do I have to put out per day, and is that feasible for me to actually hit the goal that I want to hit? And it's actually looking like it's probably going to be very achievable. So this is where it gets good. It probably won't go this well, but this is what I do every single day. But organic strategy number one. This is basically with the current system. So if we make no improvements to the registration rate and the show rate and the close rate, nothing changes, and it sits at 30% registration, 30% show, and 15% close rate. If we reverse engineer the numbers, 10% of people that watch my content click. Therefore, I need 93,330 views, let's call it 100,000 views in a 30-day period. That will get me between 9,300 to 10,000 link clicks. If we get about 9,000 link clicks, and 30% of people actually register for the free class, that's 2,800 people registering for my free class every single month. Which means with a 30% show up rate, I'll get 840 people showing up, which means I'll be able to get, at a 15% close rate, 126 customers at a lifetime value of $394. If the lifetime value is going to be $394, we can do this. We can do $394 times by 126 equals about just under 49.50K. So we'll call it $49,000 in lifetime value, all right, added in 1 month. So that's the economics behind this model. Obviously, that won't be cash collected in month one. Month one will be about 25K. Month two will be another 25K plus the 25K that I'll add from that month. So the metric here that's really important to look at is this. This is the most important thing. I need to get 100,000 views per month because that is what's going to feed this funnel. The views are going to get the clicks, going to get the registers, the shows, and the customers. The funnel is going to do this part, okay? So this middle section is the funnel, which I've been working on. This bottom section is going to be me on the webinar actually doing the conversions on the calls. We'll make that orange. And then the clicks and this is all the content, okay? So this section here is all the content, producing stuff that I post on YouTube. So that's organic strategy number one. The key thing, 100,000 views. If we do hit my targets and we do get 45% registration rate, a 40% show rate, and we keep our close rate at 15%, I need to get 46,666 views, which is about 50,000 views per month, 4,666 clicks, which is 2,100 registers, 840 shows, and 126 customers. The difference here is key because now it means I have to get less views per month to be able to achieve the same outcome. In fact, just by making these small changes, by increasing these conversion rates up here, I have to get 50% less views every single month. So if we fall anywhere between these two, I'm going to see some pretty decent results. The problem comes if we fall to the left of where we are right now on the current. If we go worse than what we're doing right now, if we fall back to a 10 to 20% registration rate and a 10 to 20% show rate and a 10 to 15% close rate, we're going to make significantly less money. So we've got to make sure that the funnel is optimized. We've got to make sure that the content strategy is actually working for this to actually be scalable. So that's why I'm spending so much time doing this rather than just throwing millions of views at a funnel that's never going to convert. So those are the numbers, all right? I've got to get 100,000 views a month. That's kind of the baseline of what I have to do. So let's have a look at what I'm currently doing at the moment. Now we're currently on the 17th of May, which means we're about 2 weeks into the month of May. Let's have a look at the numbers. So far, in May, I've had 36,740 views. Okay, so 37,000 views in the first 2 weeks of May. I've gained just over 500 subscribers, and things are going pretty well, especially because these numbers are only up to date for yesterday, not for today. So about 16 days out of the first month, 37,000 views. Here's where it gets really interesting. I have only posted 6 long-form pieces of content, okay? This video was posted 2 weeks ago on actual April the 30th at about 11 p.m., and the rest of them have been posted up until yesterday as well, which means 6 videos in 17 days, 12,641 of the 37,000 views have come from this long-form content. But what's really, really interesting about this, and that I really want to kind of talk about, is only 2 of these 6 videos that I have run this month have actually promoted my webinar. This one didn't, this one didn't, this one didn't, this one did, and so did this one. And this one promoted a separate funnel. So I've only had these 2 videos, which have got between them just under 3,000 views, which, as you can see, these videos got 3,000 views each. So I've actually had 2 of my worst performing videos promote my product this entire month, and we've still done very well from the webinar. What that means are the numbers tell me that on average per video I get about 2,000 views. 2 of them have promoted my webinar. They've also been getting around a 13% click-through rate, so above KPI. And one of them has been promoting a separate VSL funnel. This tells me that if I promoted my webinar in every single video that I posted and I increase the volume, it shouldn't be too hard to be able to get to this point, especially when we've got to get to 100,000 views and we've already done 37,000 views in the first 2 weeks. Which means at the current level of content production, we're going to hit about 70-something thousand views in our first month of posting content on YouTube, which is going to be pretty cool. This is where it also gets really interesting, is out of the 37,000 views, 24,101 of those views came from my short form content. I posted 26 short form videos in 17 days throughout this month, as well as the 6 long form videos. And those are just repurposed pieces of content, and 0 of those short form pieces of content promoted my webinar. So as of right now, I have a very good problem, which is I have a lot of views, I have a lot of traction, and I'm not promoting my webinar, which means that if I simply just promote my webinar, I should be able to get a massive influx of leads and volume coming to my landing page, which should somewhat solve the problem of the number of link clicks that I have to get each month to register for my class. That's the organic strategy. Before I tell you what my actual organic strategy plan is, I want to take you through the interesting part, which is paid ads. So, because my webinar is a very high conversion rate and the metrics are looking pretty good, it does allow me to run paid ads if that is something that I want to do. And if I want to scale this product really, really high, I do want that option to be available to me, but I only want to put ad spend behind it when I know that every single customer is going to have an amazing time, get great results, have an amazing product, because at the end of the day, I don't want to sell a piece of turd. So with that being said, let's kind of break down the numbers of what my break-even cost per click has to be for me to make money, or break even, sorry, if I'm running ads. And this is how it looks. Again, we have our current and our target. I'm assuming a lower close rate because, again, we're running paid traffic and it's not people that watch my YouTube content. So they're not going to be as warm. They're not going to be as willing to buy from me because they've just seen me from an ad. And I don't know what the effect will be for the registration rate and the show rates. But with strategy number 1, if we get a 30% registration rate, a 30% show rate, and a 10% close rate, if I get 100 clicks and 30 registrations, 9 people are going to show up, I'm going to get 1 buy. So about a 1% conversion rate on the funnel overall. That means that at the moment, my lifetime value is $394, which means that for 100 clicks, I have a $3.94 cost per click to break even on lifetime value, which if anybody's run ads here, especially TikTok ads, you'll know that this is actually not too bad. That's very achievable to get a cost per click of anywhere between $1 to $3, which is pretty decent. This is before we've made any optimizations to the lifetime value and increasing it from 2 months to 4 months or 6 months or anything like that. So if I can get my lifetime value to 6 to 12 months, then we can run ads to it and I will be basically just have my own personal cash machine. A long way to go until we get to a 6-month lifetime value. The next thing is if we actually hit our targets and we actually increase our registration rate to 45%, we increase our show rate to 40% and we keep the same 10% assumed close rate from paid traffic. That means for every 100 link clicks, we're now going to get 45 registrations instead of 30, 18 people showing up instead of 9, so we've doubled the number of people that are showing up, and we're going to get nearly basically 2 people buying, which means that we can pretty much double our cost per click to break even. I can spend at this level $7.09 on cost per click to break even. Now I know for a fact that I can definitely set up some paid ads that are going to get me a cheaper click than $7. But obviously this is a whole different ballgame running paid traffic, because I've never tested this funnel with paid ads and it's just adding in more complexity that we've not tested. So at the moment, I'm going to keep this over here out the way and we're going to focus on what we can control and what's currently working for me right now, which is organic. So this is my plan to make $50,000 per month with 1,000 subscribers. Drum roll, please. And it's really boring. Post 5 videos per week. Every video promotes my webinar. Try and get 40 to 50,000 views per month on long form content. And if we do that, if we get 40,000 views on just long form content, not including the short form content, we're going to fall short of strategy 2. That is all without leveraging any short form content for clicks as well. So what I need to do is post 5 videos per week, long form pieces of content, and also get all of these views from short form content directed into that landing page as well. And we should be able to get to the point over here. Now, if we don't do that, we don't do that. But at the end of the day, we'll be able to make a shit ton more money than we're making right now. So that's really it. That's kind of the non-exciting answer that no one was really looking for, which is basically I've got to start posting more content. And everyone kind of knew that. But if I can increase the number of content that I post to 5 times per week, and I can make some of these changes to my registration rate and my show rate, and I can keep my close rate bouncing around 8 to 15%, there should theoretically be no reason that we don't hit $50,000 in a month at some point in the next 6 to 12 months. And the other thing that I haven't accounted for here is the compounding growth of a YouTube channel. Remember, I know a lot about YouTube because I've already done this and scaled to 100,000 subscribers. So trust me when I tell you I know how YouTube channels work and how the YouTube algorithm actually performs. Typically what will happen is you'll see several months of pretty stagnant growth. Maybe you get a few spikes here and there. It'll kind of be doing this and doing great. And then 1 month you'll get a viral video that will do that and it'll set a new baseline of where you're kind of growing from. Then it'll do that and it'll set a new baseline. Okay, so what will happen is throughout this process of me trying to grow, we're going to be increasing, and almost like looking at a trading, you'll be increasing a new floor for every single level of growing your YouTube channel. And as we do this, I'll be able to get more views and direct more traffic to my funnel, which means I'll just be able to make more money. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the strategy. Bye.